Welcome back to another episode of TVGP's Critical Misses. So we're watching all the media hits we've missed. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpeer.
Howdy.
Had a bit of a low point last episode. We watched a spicy one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that this one is kind of a more of an up note. I mean, either way, it's
Do we
got...
want to announce what it is?
Sure, it's Wonder Woman. 2017's Wonder Woman. The next film in the what we're calling DCEU Phase 1, because we're not going to do like 20 weeks of DCEU straight in a row. Sorry.
But why, Boston, when we've had nothing but classics so far?
That's right. Keep this hit parade rolling here. Yeah, I don't remember hearing a whole lot of this movie other than sexist white dudes on the internet crying about it, because Wonder Woman was too much of something and not enough of something, and how dare they do something. There's, like we talked about before, nothing is ever good enough for people that hate women, so like they were gonna hate this movie out of hand anyway.
Yes, I believe it was also directed by a woman, if that helps.
Oh God, how dare she?
Uh-huh.
Oh my God, the mortal sin. Yeah. So I feel like taking all of that noise out, the opinions you shouldn't be listening to in the first place. I feel like most people's reaction was sort of like, yeah, it's okay. Gal Gadot is good as Wonder Woman, and it's fine. It's all right.
Okay. I have a very specific set of feelings about this movie, which I'm not going to spoil right here.
Sure.
Save that for the second half. But it will, of course, it will include probably the best version of the Wonder Woman theme ever, which is the Junkie XL electric violin slap banger of a beat that they put together. Because I'm sorry, but that's the best Wonder Woman theme I've ever heard.
It's really good. When it kicked in Batman v Superman, I was like, "Yep, that's the this. Please keep doing that. That's great. Let's go."
Nail it.
Yep,
it's a fantastic theme. Let's go.
Yeah, you got it. You got it first try. Like it.
Oh, it's so good. But yeah, okay, so we know Gal Gadot.
Yep. I know
Patty Jenkins is the director, by the way.
Okay.
Director of Monster, I think it is, or Mother. It's one of the two.
I think Monster. I don't think I've seen any of her stuff. Let me pull her up in the background here. Yes, I have not seen anything she has directed. Except for
apparently she's also been announced as the Star Wars Rogue Squadron director.
Oh, that's exciting.
Uh-huh.
She also directed an episode of Arrested Development called The One Where They Build a House, which is genuinely a really good episode of that show. So, high expectations here. I do know Chris Pine is in this as her, like, her buddy, her pal, her... I don't know anything about the Wonder Woman comics at all. So I don't know if it's like, oh, of course Chris Pine plays this dude, the guy who's been in the comics for, 155 years.
His name is Steve.
Whoa, shocker.
So, out of curiosity here, what are we expecting from this, like, time frame wise? Because you should have an idea of when this takes place based solely on the images that you've seen. One specific image which you've seen like 5 times.
Yeah, Batman v Superman kind of kept going back to that well a couple times. I expect there to be some level of origin story here. I mean, I sort of don't expect her to start the movie with the lasso and the bracers and be like, here I am, World War I, let's go. So I'm not sure where that starts and how much normally I'd say like, yeah, I spent a couple minutes of it, but Man of Steel spent like 25 minutes on Krypton, so all assumptions are off at this point.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm
So,
assuming we're gonna see some of that, and then we'll move into probably looking at that picture. It sort of looked like maybe World War One,
okay.
as far as I could tell.
So we're expecting Origin and then like timepiece World War One or two kind of thing.
Yeah, and then the big question for me is, after seeing Batman v Superman, she's obviously sort of existing in the modern times with
Hmm.
alongside the rest of them. I'm I'm almost expecting to maybe see a little bit of that as kind of the end, but knowing the name of the next film, the next Wonder Woman film, sort of maybe spoils the progression of these films a little bit, because it's like next one is, hi, it's Wonder Woman 1984. It's like, well,
Hmm.
okay, probably safe to guess the time frame the second movie takes place in. Um,
I
so
would have no idea what you're talking about.
yeah, so I'm not sure how much we'll see of uh, time traveling Wonder Woman, super old, uh, immortal Wonder Woman stuff here.
Okay.
But
I get ready for an absolute banger of a cast, just so you know.
okay, that's been the pleasant surprise in almost all of these movies. Is like, wow, they got him. They got, oh, all right, he's in there. Like, okay, you got
Hmm.
everybody in these movies has been like the big famous people that you kind of, even in little roles, like um what's his name, Perry at the Daily Planet.
Yes, Perry White with
Yeah, he's in the movie for like 5 minutes each time. It's like you got like a really big actor to play that role, and he's not
mhm.
really even in the movie.
Dude, they got a really big actor to play Lois Lane, and she's barely in the movies at all.
Heyo. um Man, it's such a bummer. She's great. Just like, here's our 3 hour long movie. Yeah, Lois Lane is in it for like 7 minutes, and 5 minutes of those she's in trouble underwater. So
Hmm.
what are you gonna do? The bummer. Um,
Okay, okay.
I'm 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 a little hesitant to make any predictions at this point, because in the previous three movies I've been wrong on nearly all of them. So
Yeah, that is true.
yeah, this has not been a good season for me, being like, I don't think we're gonna see Ben Affleck as Batman in this movie. Nah, he's in it a bunch.
First five
Okay,
minutes and he's in the movie.
yeah, no big deal. Um,
Um, there's a lot I do like about this movie. There's a couple of again, we're going to continue the theme for this season when there is a couple of moments in
yeah,
this movie as well.
when Wonder Woman
Um,
gets to do cool stuff, it's like, yeah, man, Wonder Woman's cool. All right.
there is a really good sequence. It's like an origin sequence. You have seen the Harry Potter movies, correct?
Yeah.
And in I think it's Deathly Hallows Part One, it has
Mm-hmm.
that animated sequence, which is
Right,
a
that like
really
sketchy
sick
style.
animated sequence.
Yeah.
They do something similar in this, except
Oh,
it's not
nice.
animated or hand drawn in the same style, but it's this really cool animated sequence to
That's a pleasant
explain,
surprise.
yeah, exactly, to explain the history of the Amazonians.
Right.
Um, really good.
Interesting. That's exciting.
Hmm. And if you think about who Wonder Woman is, and do you know her legacy in the comics at all?
Not really. Like, I know the lasso of truth.
Hmm.
You got the bracers that reflect
Hmm.
seemingly everything. Um, Beyond that, I feel like I feel like some of the stuff I know is kind of like a half remembered dream, where it's like she's from an island of immortal. They're all ladies. No, maybe not. I don't. It's all like kind of,
Themyscira is the name of that island.
yeah, and it's all like fuzzy, like half absorbed osmosis stuff. Where I'm like, yeah, she's
Hmm.
okay. There's some stuff up there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So this will
So
be the one movie where if they're gonna do any level of origin story, I'm gonna be pretty okay with it, so I can catch up.
okay, I will. They don't explicitly state this one thing, which I'm going. They hint around it, but it's never really clear.
Hmm.
I will say off the bat that um, that Diana is a a child of Zeus.
Oh, okay, sure.
Because we all know Zeus, the king of all a-holes, who
Hmm.
would just, disguise himself as a cow and then lead women astray, kind of thing, like the
Yep.
giant a-hole that he is. But yes, the reason that makes Diana special is because she is a daughter of a god, which means
Gotcha.
she's an actual demigod.
Right. Right.
So get ready for that to be brought into the lore.
Okay. Interesting. That's a thing about Wonder Woman I didn't know. So that's kind of I like the melding of like here's comic stuff and here's mythology, like bringing in some
Mhm.
ancient god mythology that we kind of don't often see.
Yep, it's one of the reasons I love the Supernatural TV show. It's one of the reasons I love the Stargate TV show
Yeah.
because Stargate basically turns the Asgardian lore, the Asgardian history, and they are the Greys. They
Oh,
are the
nice.
Asgardians, which
Great,
is hilarious to me.
man.
But no, it's that. We've got the time thing. You're not even gonna guess who the villain is? Like, not a guess
Oh
at all?
no, I don't even think man, I don't. I'm trying to think if I can like. I'm flipping through the Rolodex here in my brain, trying to see if. Also, that's how old I am that I'm referring to as a Rolodex.
I was gonna say that. Come on, dude, you can do
Yeah,
better than Rolodex.
yeah, Boston,
Nobody's gonna know what that
1984 over
is.
here. Um,
Uh-huh.
Scrolling through my phone's contacts. That's probably too old too. Um, I don't even know. I don't even know if I know a Wonder Woman villain off the top of my head. That's a
Honestly,
total
if it's
blank.
not for the two in the movies, and obviously then the Superman and Batman villains that they
Hmm.
also fight as part of the JL. I wouldn't be able, if it wasn't for these two movies, I wouldn't be able to name any Woman villains at all.
Right. I feel like I know something about the villain in the next movie because Kristen Wiig plays a villain with like a big cat name, like Cheetah or something. Um, but like, I feel like that's maybe the legacy of this movie is like it's fine, but 1984, like, yeah. Um, I mean,
Interesting.
1984 has its own issues, I know, but like,
Yes, it
I feel
does.
like that got more exposure when it came out than this one,
I
which is sort of
probably
like it's
also
fine.
got more. I think it also got more exposure because of when it came out. But you have to keep in
Sure.
mind, when this movie was announced, nobody expected anything good from it
Right.
because you're
Uh,
coming off the back of Man of Steel, BVS, and then Suicide Squad, and then this thing
right.
comes out. Like, it's the build is not great.
Yeah, and at this point, she's been in a couple of Fast Saga movies, and then Batman v
Hmm.
Superman, and like a couple of other roles here, but like nothing super big on the level of other than the Fast Saga movies, of course. I don't want to besmirch the good name of the Fast Saga, but
Hmm.
she hasn't been in anything kind of where she's the leading role like this in Wonder Woman. So I think there was an element of sort of like, yeah, she did okay in Batman v Superman, but what's she gonna do here?
Yep.
Yeah,
So yeah. There's a lot I would like to say, which
you
would
got a lot of
immediately
thoughts
spoil
that
the
are
movie.
itching to come out. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the problem. Is like there are a lot of things I would like to say right now about this,
Hmm.
but I can't because literally saying any of it would spoil the movie, the layout of the movie, the plot of the movie,
Right.
everything.
Well, do you have any final notes here before we go watch the movie?
I look forward to seeing what you think of it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it because I like I said I feel like this is the movie I know the least about, hopefully
Mhm.
for kind of a positive way, because I feel like as we've gone through the first three movies that we're covering in this season, each one of them were notable or infamous for kind of large reasons, and I feel like this
Yep.
one is the one that I've been exposed to the least, and I'm hoping that's for largely positive reasons,
Yeah.
or at least less bad coming off of Suicide Squad. Oh boy.
Less bad reasons. Yeah,
Yeah.
that might
Yeah.
be the title of every episode from now on.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. Well, let's go watch the movie.
Yep.
Welcome back. We have seen Wonder Woman. We've watched the film. I was telling Moon here, as we mentioned before, we don't really talk about our thoughts, our impressions before we do this. We want to get as honest and
Raw.
yeah, our raw opinions here. But I did admit I have no notes here for this movie. And Moon
Uh-huh.
said, well, either that's really good or it's really bad. In this case, it's really good. I forgot to write down any notes because I was just having fun watching the movie.
Yay.
So, a nice, this movie has a problem. I think this movie has one singular problem that we will talk about much later in the film.
Interesting.
But the rest of it, I was just having a fun time watching a good movie. Which, after the last movie, feeling pretty good about this one.
Yep.
The roller coaster
Let me tell you,
continues.
this was a hell of a movie to go watch in the theaters.
Oh, I
Um,
bet. Yeah.
and my favorite thing about this is I went to see them. This is where my life story gets a little bit strange. I
Mm,
went to see this opening day in the theaters, so I have
okay.
like promotional posters in the other room from this movie.
Oh, nice.
Um, and I went to see opening day in Lake Placid,
Oh, okay.
which, if you know anything about me, that's not my normal stomping grounds.
Yeah. A little bit further away. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Um, Starting at the top of the movie here, we do get the we do get the flashback to an alternate take of the Batman v Superman stuff, where she gets the photographic plate in this one, as opposed to
Well, hey, don't you know? He found the original. It's the original bust.
it's not a print anymore. It's the ooh la la. It's her and a bunch of dudes in World War One. She goes,
Really?
yes.
We're gonna do the French joke at the beginning when she's at. It is the Louvre, I believe she's at.
Is she at the Louvre in that? I thought that was
It's the
her
one with the
like.
giant glass pyramid in
Oh,
front of
okay.
it.
I thought she was in her like cool world traveling apartment. I forgot about that.
No, she's walking into work, which is why she walks through the museum with all of the things beside her as well.
Right. I forgot about that.
Either that or she's British and she just stole all that crap.
6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Uh-huh.
So she goes back into her memories to remember all about what happened in this movie. I was actually pretty happy with kind of the overall
The world building.
yeah, like the world building in general, but especially kind of the origin story here. It didn't. I feel like it could have spent way more time on a lot of this, and a
Uh-huh.
lot of it was like, here's the Amazons. They're super cool. They're super
Yep.
tough.
Uh-huh.
Kicking the crap out of each other. This is cool,
Uh-huh.
huh? And I'm like, yeah, man, this is super cool. And we got a kid
And
like
young Diana.
shadowboxing here.
Yeah,
Love it.
young Diana's kind of a cool actress. Like she
Yeah,
is really, really good.
yeah, she's killing it. And then they're like, oh yeah, like this is the only kid we have. I like Mulder out of clay, and Zeus did his thing. Anyways, moving on. I was like, oh, right. I feel like they spend the right amount of time on the tension between the general that's training Diana and the queen.
That's Antiope and Hippolyta, I believe it is.
Yes. I like that they don't spend too much time on that. You've probably seen a movie before this. You kind of get it. Like
Uh-huh.
they don't need to spend more time on it. I think they spend the appropriate amount of time. Um, and then fast forwards to approaching the 1920s and Captain
War
Steve
arrives.
Shriver, War arrives. Um, I kind of like that shot where she's standing on the cliff and she's just watching that plane like
Uh-huh.
break through the illusion field and crash. And I was sort of like, all right, that's a pretty. Oh, she's jumping into the water. Okay, cool, 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 cool.
It's
Um,
a good dive. Like, it's
it,
a very good
yeah,
dive.
it's a good dive. And
Um,
go
it
ahead.
is worth a quick shout out here, by the way, that the Princess Bride slash Jenny from Forrest Gump is Antiope.
Mm-hmm.
Like the
Yes.
general. Like this has got some legends of Hollywood in the ladies department.
Yeah, like this again is no slouch of. Oh, this dude's in it. Oh, she's in it. Um,
Uh-huh.
and I think I said that pretty pretty loudly about Chris Pine's secretary. I'm like, oh, she's in this. She's great. All right, yeah, good, good, good. Um, and
Lucy
it's
Davis, yeah.
yeah, and the whole movie is a lot of. We'll get to the my favorite person here later, but it's kind of nice seeing the whole movie. It's just like, oh, he's in. Oh, she's in. Yeah, cool. So good on the DCEU for continuing to hire like the biggest names, even if you maybe don't know their actual names.
Uh-huh.
Um, um, yeah, I like the Steve's arrival and Diana's rescue.
What did you think of the storybook sequence where she's getting the story read to her and it's like the classical painting slightly animated, like
It's
when
great.
she's a kid?
It's really
Like
good.
I, that's a really cool way of telling the story.
Yeah, it's I forgot about that, but yes, it's a really cool little. I would like to see more movies do that instead of like, here's CG. It's like, no, we
Yeah, just
animated a thing.
break reality and do something completely out of the blue.
100%. Um, I like that the Germans show up and they're like, all right, let's get them, and the Amazons are like, nope, no thanks. Let's
Uh-huh.
Let's get him back out of here. A really, really good fight scene. This movie is full of really good fight scenes. That's usually not
Yup.
what I'm coming to these movies for. But boy, every time Diana is fighting a bunch of dummies by herself, it's super good.
Uh-huh.
And some
And
of
the
the
whole Amazons versus the Germans, like that fight scene is so cool. Like the
yeah,
teamwork, the arrows. Like I like the fact that Steve says they have guns, right?
mm-hmm.
No, don't worry, we don't need them. We got
Yeah,
bows.
yeah, man. Like so many of the Amazons are super cool.
Uh-huh.
there's that really great shot in the intro where that really big lady gets attacked from behind, and like
With the
doesn't
King of the
even
Hill.
like doesn't even feel it and just like yeets one of the other ladies. I was like, this is great. This movie's great. Um,
Uh-huh.
and we find I, I I like the lasso of truth as like a proper name now, but whatever. Um, I like Steve being interrogated by the lasso, um, and
He acts so well in this, but I'm like
mm-hmm, yeah. I also really like his line of like the war, like the war to end all wars. Like,
uh-huh.
what are you guys talking about? Um, I like Chris Pine. I forget about that every time until I see a movie with him. I'm like, yeah, he's good. He's a good actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is one of those people who I think is wildly underrated because every time like you said, I forget about him completely,
Yep.
and he's in something. It's like, ah, crap, he's really good.
Yeah. And he's really I feel like especially with starting in this scene, like he's really solid throughout pretty much the entire rest of the movie. Um
Uh-huh.
I like the setup of the was it Dr. Poison?
Yeah.
Dr. Maru. His whole thing of like, all right, she's real bad, like, look, she's got a mask on a part of her, like a quarter of her face. You know she's bad. I got her
Ludendorff is
notebooks.
busy doing like gas PCP essentially.
Yeah, it's so bad. I like the setup of like, I have her notebooks. It's got secrets. I need to go deliver these, and I've been waylaid here. So if you could just send me on my way, that'd be great. Thanks so much. And um, I wasn't expecting the bad guy in this movie to be Ares, comma, the god of war.
I was curious if you would get that after the storybook section or not, or if it would be a case of no, like it's a much more human story kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad they did both. Because
I think that the fact that they did both leads to two of my favorite scenes.
Okay.
Which we can get to much later on.
Okay. I do like the setup here of Diana getting introduced and then taking like the lasso and armor, the god killer. Also really like the scene of Steve in the bath. Of just like,
which I'm pretty sure, by the way, that is the actual Fountain of Youth, just so you know.
Oh, I do like when he's like trailing his foot through it and it's leaving that like that white line behind it. It's really it. Part of the reason why I like this movie so much is it's fun. Like so much of it, there are great action scenes. There's some pretty solid drama. Gal Gadot and Chris Pine are both really solid. But like this scene, there's been this groundswell of criticism against the MCU over the last couple of years. It's probably half fair, but I'm certainly not the most well versed of them. The like, something wacky happens and the movie essentially turns to you and be like, well, that happened. Whether they do it out loud or not is sort of not the point. I like this bath scene because it's a little bit of a wink where it's like, yeah, this is kind of dumb. Like, we're having a little bit of fun with like this naked guy, and he's like, I'm above average. Like, that's pretty funny.
I like the fact that it's all scientific. Like, Diana is asking very scientific questions, not "Ooh, you're a man" kind of questions, but no, you're the first man I've met. Here is a bunch of questions I have about your gender.
Well, and like, when she asks what's that, and he's like looks down, he's like, it's and he realizes she's asking about something else. That's pretty fun. Like, it's not like, I don't know, it could have been a little bit, I feel like it's written and directed really well, and it's such a fine line to do that type of comedy without it being like, whoa, like that sort of a man, wah, hawooga, you know, like nothing like that. I give him a lot of credit for doing a lot with a little in a lot of those scenes. No insult to Chris Pine.
Yeah, there is no death by snooze no scene.
Yeah, exactly. Which in a lot of lesser movies would probably be like, well, this is what we're gonna do. It's like, please no. I think this is where they're in the boat together, the tiny little boat, like laying next to each other in a pretty solid, quiet scene.
Yes, we did get Diana exploring her powers a little bit, like the whole leap over the chasm when she gets to the armory.
Just such a cool,
punching
such a
holes
cool
in solid buildings to climb.
Super cool. Love it. Just scaling a tower with punchy fists. Love it. Also, really like that when she goes.
They don't show the costume. They show hints of the costume.
Right.
Like,
I also like when she climbs in that like circular orb thing to get the god killer. It's not a trap. I like that she just picks it up and leaves. Like there's no like. I like that there's no protections on it because it's like, well, why would you? Like, whatever. Who's gonna take it?
Yeah,
Probably Wonder Woman.
it's an island full of the greatest warriors ever known. So
Yeah,
of
it's like
course,
you don't need this thing if you're gonna take it. Fine, whatever. I kind of like the quiet scene in the boat of them just kind of getting to know each other, kind of ribbing each other a little bit.
yeah, I like that. What is marriage? And
Right,
the constant confluence between the words "sleep with someone" and "sleeping with someone"
right.
is really good.
And I
Um,
like that the line the movie toes the line. Again, this has to be really hard because if you make Diana too innocent, then she's stupid. But if you make her too worldly, then it's unbelievable that she's been on this island the whole time. Of course, she's read books. Like, everybody reads. If you don't read, you should read. Reading is good.
yeah, and she references the 12 books of the pleasures of the flesh.
Right? Like, of course she's read it. Why not? We'll figure it out. But I like that the movie never. She's asking questions because she's curious, but I feel like she knows what she should know. There's no
Mm,
like, it never really sticks too long on something she should know already. She's not like, oh, a boat. It's like she knows what a boat is. Come on, let's go. Like, it's nothing
mhm.
like that. I do like that they get to London. She really doesn't like it. I like Chris Pine's delivery of.
Well, welcome to London. It's disgusting.
Mhm.
It's not for everybody.
I love his immediate like, it's not for everybody. Like, it's real good. Um,
Mhm.
they bring the. I like the scene where they bring the notebook to the Supreme War Council,
Uh,
where
uh, 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 I can't let you skip past the meeting with the secretary, which is great,
okay, that's right. I
and then the
like
fashion scene.
yeah, fashion scene went on for a smidge longer than
A little too long,
I liked,
correct?
but I like I like where it landed, and I like them putting the glasses on, and the secretary's like, so what? She's not like the most beautiful woman you've ever seen, like, kind of
Mhm.
ribbing most movies that are like, no one can tell who this beautiful woman is. She's wearing glasses. Um,
Yeah.
it it was good. I also like her taking the sword and shield and just being like on the London streets, being like, okay, I've got
This is why I
these
wanted to
things.
bring her up, because her trying to get through a revolving door with the sword and the shield is
Yep, trying to
is
like
some
dash through
quality.
the yeah. It's pretty good. I like there's some little stuff of her walking around London, and I kind of like her seeing a car for the first time, her wanting to hang out with the baby, and Steve is just like, please no, like I just
Ice cream, dude. I can't remember if it's before this or after this, but
I
the
think
ice cream. I think it's
I think it's
after this.
after this because that's when they get on the
It's
big
when they're heading to France, I
yeah,
believe,
when they're
or
heading to
Belgium.
like the front. Um, I think this is where they go to the war council now, because
I
she says
believe
like
it's after the shopping visit we
right.
get the ambush in the alleyway.
Okay, this fight scene's so cool. Like, I just number one, I will never get tired of her blocking stuff with the bracery bracelet things. It's always super cool. I like him saying like, "You need to get behind me," and she just like goes in front of him and pling, like, yeah, and
Maybe not.
she just takes care of all of those people. It is there,
So
there's
good.
some there are some really cool moves when she's fighting people in this movie, and I it certainly wasn't anything I was expecting, and I'm very happy they made a bunch of cool like solo fight scenes for her, and it's not like her and Chris Pine back to back in an alley. She's like, no, like this is what I've been trained to do my whole life. Like I'll
It's
keep you safe.
it's not derivative of, but it's very similar to the Black Widow reveal scene in Iron Man 2,
Oh sure,
where her and Happy go into the building and she just wipes the floor with everybody, and then Happy's like,
right,
knocking out one dude. Like
right.
it's a great little moment, except she's Wonder Woman, so she's got like super speed and like
Mm-hmm.
it's ridiculous seeing the stuff she does, and I love it. I love the fact that the braces are essentially just like a little bullet deflector. It's so
Yep.
it's really cool.
It's really good. And then that last guy tries to run away, and the secretary's there with the sword and the shield. Like,
Where do you think you're going?
yeah, that's a pretty good scene. I also
Yeah,
like
and
that.
lasso and cyanide as well at that point. Like she
Yeah,
catches him with the lasso.
yeah. I do like that Diana is impatient about getting to the front. Like she's singular in her mission here of like Ares has got to be there. Let's go.
Yeah, 'cause this is the line I love. This is the line that this movie toes so well. We discussed a little bit earlier. It's the line between the human and the fantastical stories.
Yeah.
Like Chris Pine does not believe that Ares is the cause of this. He doesn't.
No. Why would a
Diana
god of war be
believes-
alive anymore? Or at
Exactly.
all?
Whereas Diana believes that if Ares is dealt with, everything else goes away.
Right.
And they're both right.
Right.
It's
Right.
really cool. But I like her staunch belief is like, yeah, I get there, I kill this guy. Everything ends, the world is
It's
happy.
over. Everybody's fine. No, everyone stops fighting. It's like, oh,
Uh-huh.
probably not. I mean, that would be great, but no.
Uh-huh.
So I like her kind of continued again. This real close balance of she's not saying it every 2 minutes about like, are we going to the front yet? Hey, I got new clothes. Are we going to the front? Like she's directed, but I like that she believes in Steve's insistence that, hey, this notebook that I'm delivering could save millions of lives. I really have to do this. And Diana's sort of like, well, I mean, I want to save millions of lives too. Like, okay,
Yeah.
let's go do that. That sounds like a worthy cause.
Yeah. And then her showing up at the General Council of War people it's great.
It's really good. It's Sir Patrick Morgan is trying to negotiate an armistice. And I like that Diana is just there and everyone's like, why is a lady here? What's going on with this whole thing? I want to especially call out here, what is his name? David Thewlis as Sir Patrick Morgan, which, if you have seen the Harry Potter movies, you've probably seen him as Remus Lupin, which is kind of the best reason to cast him in this movie for stuff we'll talk about later. But he is an incredible actor, and seeing him on screen, especially with that mustache, is just like, yeah, man, what's up? You're great. I'm happy you're here.
Beautiful mustaches in this movie.
Really are, especially some real long, like Fu Manchu business, like real
and
good.
The Kelly thingamajigs that people have got going on as well.
Yeah, he's got some. They got some wax up in those. I'm getting choked up here at the thought of a nice mustache. But I I like that everybody is. I like that we get to the point where everybody's trying to figure out what's going on with the notes, and Diana's like, "Yeah, man, I know those languages. Do you want me to translate them for you?"
Yeah, it's Ottoman and Sumerian. Come on,
Right.
who doesn't know that?
Yeah, and she's like, "Who doesn't know this?" And it's like all these dudes in the late 1910s, and it's just like, none of these dudes know anything, man. So we figure out the notes are for a more potent version of mustard gas, essentially, that they're going to release at the Western Front, which is all the way bad.
Yup.
Based on the notes and the experiment scenes we have seen before. Also, I don't remember when it happens, but I also like the introduction to the German general guy, where he's walking through the facility and he's complaining about the guys.
Ludendorff. That is his second
Yeah.
scene, yeah. Because his
Where
first scene is with Dr. Poison when it's mostly about Dr. Poison. That's when we first learn about his PCP gas.
The
And then
make him
his
strong.
second scene.
Yeah, I like that he's just
his
like,
second scene is that one.
you and your men are weak, and then just blat right in the face. It's like, yep, that's pretty.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty good. This is, I think, once they translate the notes, I think this is the "let's get the crew together" scene.
Yep.
Which is there. So,
well, it's they give the notebook, they figure out what it is, and then Steve asks to go and destroy it. The government says no.
right.
He says Diana starts arguing and fighting with everybody. Not a fist fight, but a verbal fighting with everybody.
Right.
And then Steve basically drags her out and is like, look, I'm going to take you to the front. We're going to go.
Listen to me. I'm going to do it anyway.
How do you know? How do I know you're not lying? And then he literally wraps the
Right.
lasso around his own hand. He's like, we're going to the front. This is a stupid idea. We're all going to die.
I do really like... I do really like Diana's kind of insistence on doing the right thing, where it's like, okay, you guys aren't listening to me, I'm going to be louder about you guys being dumb and not letting me do this thing. Like, we need to do this thing, you guys need to shut up and listen to me. I like this kind of loud insistence that is sort of framing her character as like, no, we're going to do the right thing. I'm sort of sold on needing to stop both Ares and this horrible experiment stuff. I like the getting the crew together scene. It's a little bit... there's a little bit of obvious stuff here. You know, there's probably not a lot of clever stuff you can write here. The one throwaway line I really like is when... I think it's Sammy comes over to Steve and Diana, and Steve's in the middle of saying, like, it's a pub, it's kind of like a bar, and I'm like, that's one throwaway thing I really like, of just like, he's continually explaining all this stuff to her, like, he's not being terrible or judgy about it, he's just like, oh, that's right, you know, he's in the middle of explaining this other stuff.
Yeah.
So we get Sammy the spy, Charlie the marksman,
Sniper.
And Chief, who is the Native American smuggler guy.
Yep.
And let's go to the front. I don't have any money. Do you want to go anyway? And then Sir Patrick Morgan comes in and be like, if I was just a younger man. Anyways, here's a lot of money. Go get him. Wink. I didn't say this. Bye. So, kind of nice.
Is this also? I can't remember if it's here or if it's after the Freedom of Veld that you get the conversation with Sammy and Diana, where he's like, nobody's who they want to be right now. Like, I want to be an actor, but I'm the wrong color. And, you know, these people want to be this and these people want to be this. It's like everyone wants to be something else, but it's a wartime, so they can't be.
Right. I think that's later, but that is a really good scene of, like, these are the times we're living in, and this is the war we're suffering under, and...
May you not live in interesting times.
Right.
I've kind of had enough of interesting times.
Right. Yes, God. But I think this is where we have the ice cream scene, because they're all kind of going towards the front, and she's in the train station?
Yeah, I think it's demarking from the boat, I think. Something
yes.
like that.
Right.
Like, he's like Steve Miser was like, this is wonderful. You should be very proud of yourself.
I really like that line of her just being like, you should be very proud of yourself. And it's like, that is awfully cute. Good job, Wonder Woman. Like, that's a scene that probably most people would have just left in deleted scenes or whatever. Be like, we don't need this. But it's like, no, like, let her have kind of a fun moment. And then they bring it down with, like, all of the injured soldiers and civilians kind of coming off the boat. They go to Belgium to go to the front. Diana is displeased to find no man's land, and says, like, well, I need to get over there. Like, let's go through no man's land. Steve's like, dude, it's not named that just for a laugh. Like, this is some real business. dude. So she decides to just go through no man's land by herself with her bracers and a
This
shield.
scene is the best scene in this movie. I don't care. It's the best scene in this movie.
Mm,
And they don't take the easy way out of saying, well, I am no man. I love you, Lord of the Rings, but
yeah.
come on.
Yeah, Lord of
They
the Rings
don't.
can keep that line like that. That's a great line for that movie. I was really worried that she was gonna say like, "Well, I'm gonna get through there because I'm not a man." It's like too on the nose for this movie.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah, this scene is my favorite scene.
yeah. This
Like,
this is not my favorite scene, but this is a really my favorite scene is coming up next. But this
oh,
is
okay. My number two scene is the next scene.
the next
So
one. Yeah. Um, I this is great. They're all across no man's land. The liberating Veld is
okay,
when
one second. How
yeah
did you feel about the slow mo in this movie? Because I love the slow mo usage in
yeah
this movie.
I don't mind it. I feel like there's enough of it in here that it's probably a sticking point for people that don't like the movie. We were talking about a couple episodes ago. We were talking about MTV style quick cuts. you know
Uh-huh.
and I feel like that's very much like, well, if they wouldn't have had so much slowdown, I probably would have loved this movie. It's like, no, you weren't, because you're just a dude and you're being a
Uh-huh.
dude, like
Oh yeah, we don't even want to talk about the
no.
internet's reaction to
Yeah,
this movie.
we talked about that in
We'll
the
get there.
first we talked about that in the first half, and we'll get there at the very end, but uh, everybody knows how the internet, aka dudes, felt about this movie. um
Uh-huh.
I find the liberation of Veld probably my favorite scene. Number one, she's jumping through buildings. Number
Uh-huh.
two, she's jumping through windows on top of dudes. That's awesome. And number three, seeing her fighting like 7 or 8 idiots in this big like factory room by herself and just like jumping from one person to another. There's that incredible shot where she loses her shield and like flips over, lands on it, scoops it up, and like uses it to knock out another dude. It's just like,
Yep.
this is sick. And also, most importantly, using her sword to kill dudes. Like,
Yep.
this is very much not a Batman thing. It's like, no, I got a sword. Like, slice and dice. Let's go. Like, it's
Uh-huh.
obvious not like, oh my guts, put him back in. It's nothing like
It's
gross
not
or
just a
anything.
god killer; it's a human killer as well. Funnily enough.
That's right. That's right. So I like this scene a whole lot. Um, I like the I like the occasional shots of her like running on a roof after clearing out a building, and the other people are just like, oh god, we gotta go, and like them just on the ground like trying to keep up with her. I think that's a really
Uh-huh.
good, to me it really sells the thing of like the 3 or 4 of them that are on the ground are really not in the same league as this one
Uh-huh.
woman is, who is just jumping through buildings. Like, just
Yeah,
try and keep up, try and take out a person or two. She's gonna take care of it. I like that a lot about this movie.
and I like the fact that they embrace the knee slides in this movie as well. Like
That's
she's
so
all
cool.
about sliding across those knees. Like that's why they're full knee braces, is because they go cover the kneecaps so she can slide like a mofo across the ground
Yep,
and slice somebody's legs out from under them.
it's really
Really
great.
great.
There's only one shot in this scene that's CG, and I think it's unfortunately kind of obvious, where her and
To
Steve
town
are,
square
yeah,
with
like
Steve.
back to back.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's not like some of the bad Fast and Furious CG, where it's just like, ooh boy. But it's a little bit of like, all right, like this would be a tough shot to do practically, so I certainly can't blame you. Um, but yeah, they clean out that whole town, and she's just like, all right, let's go. Like,
Uh-huh.
this is, let's do this thing.
Yep.
Um,
Time to move on again.
yeah. Um, I like that this is kind of where Steve and Diana are starting to fall in love a little bit. I think this is them outside the, at night there's like a cafe or a restaurant or something. Is that this scene?
Yes, it's after it's short. They stay the night in Veld
Yeah. It
to have like to secure everything. It feels like
right.
we
Um
totally didn't mention, by the way, the sniper failed to make take a shot, and instead they did the shield trick, which is
yeah,
incredible.
that's right. Yeah, they hoist her up. Man, what a shot of like her leaping up a clock tower on the back of this piece of metal. Like, I can't believe I forgot that shot. That was a cool shot.
Like,
Unfor
there's my
Go ahead.
probably my two favorite shots is her jumping off that and then just destroying the top of that church.
Just like
Um,
she doesn't even like get in there and punch-size that dude. She just knocks down the top of that tower and she's like, "Well, I took care of it. Like,
mhm.
what do you guys want from me?" Um,
my other one is like in the Veld scene beforehand when she knees that dude in the face and goes out the window with him in
it's
front of her.
so good. Oh man,
Mhm.
there's so many. There's so many good shots you can break down in that scene. A lot of like a lot of really interesting use of depth of her like swinging her legs towards the camera like in an arc or like swinging the shield and the sword in really interesting ways like it
There's a there's a lot of leg sweeping in this as well, which I'm
yeah
fine with because Gal Gadot has got legs that seem to go on forever.
yeah she's like 25 feet tall so like you might as well make it look cool but
Embrace it.
I think what's really interesting is it never feels male gazy like there's
Mhm.
no real like oops upskirt moments or anything that I was kind of concerned about. Thankfully, like once you watch this movie for more than a couple of minutes, you're like, yeah, that's thank goodness a woman directed this because like otherwise it would have been pretty rough. But yeah, they kind of spend a quiet moment there in Veld and then find out about the gala that's gonna be happening at German High Command.
Yep,
Um, which they are
because he's
expressly
already killed
forbidden
her.
to go to.
Yeah, because Ludendorff has killed everybody who wants to sign the armistice.
Right, right. Wink.
Yeah,
It certainly isn't
which
a trap.
I love and hate that shot because it's a really good shot. Where I like the fact that like he goes in and tries to convince them to not sign the armistice because of his new fancy gas.
Right,
And they say no. So he walks out. On the way out, he indicates to Doctor Poison, who throws the gas grenade in there,
right.
and then he throws a gas mask in after it. They
Mm-hmm.
close the door and lock it. And then Dr. Poison's like, but the gas mask doesn't do anything. And he's like, yeah, but they don't know that. And then
I
they
like
both
the
start
two of them
laughing.
are
And
like,
it's just so stupid.
it's just like, I kind of like it because normally in a lot of these movies they'd have like some deranged laugh and be like, ha ha ha, like, and they're just like these two like school children that are like they said but like
Oh,
it's this kind of
like,
fun moment but
well, this is what happens when you get high on your own supply.
that's right, that's right, he keeps cracking these blue pills and just going nuts. um
Mhm.
yeah, they leave and um obviously all of them are have perished. um this whole I like a lot about the gala scene. um I I like the little bit of comedy that Sammy and Steve have, where Steve doesn't even have the pipe angled correctly in his mouth, and
Yeah.
they're fighting between each other. Um, I kind of like that. I like Diana leaving from their little watch point literally as soon as someone turns their back on her. Um,
Hmm.
she goes and steals that dress. I really, really love the shot of her walking into the gala with the dress on, with the sword in the back, like the hilt and the
Yeah.
pommel just peeking out. That's a really good shot, and I like that Steve almost
Almost gets
interests.
Dr. Poison.
Yeah, like
Almost.
almost like she's kind of like leaning in a little bit, and then he of course sees, the 25-foot Gal Gadot across the dance floor, and is just like, oh, hello, hi, what's up, dress,
Yeah, if you ever want a Lady Dimitrescu in real life, this is your
That's
actress right
right.
here.
That's right. Um, so, um, this whole thing kind of goes wrong because Diane is like, well, I have to. That's Ares right over there. Like he was just talking to me. Like let me go. I can just like just
Uh-huh.
crack that neck. Like let's finish this war. Let's do it. And I like that there's this continued tension between Steve and Diana of just like, look, man, you can't just like kill a dude. Like that's not how this thing goes. And she's like, yeah, but I can end this whole thing. Like, let me just, I got the sword right here. Look at this thing.
Uh-huh.
And then, of course, because Steve wouldn't let her kill the commander guy, he just launches the gas.
Yep.
Look at this giant
That's
cannon I have on the roof. Thoomp. Like,
hmm let's let's destroy the town we just liberated.
yeah, that was a pretty rough scene of her like rushing in and being like, oh no, it is all the way bad. Like this everything went real wrong.
Uh-huh.
So Diana goes to find. Why do I keep forgetting his name? Ludendorff. Um,
Ludendorff, yes.
Ludendorff. Um, she goes to find him. And she's like, "For real, stay out of my way. Like I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stab this dude like at least once."
Yeah. And the chief sends them smoke signals to show them where the base is, because of
Right.
course he does.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fine. um. So they go to the airfield, and everybody's there. You got Dr. Poison,
Uh-huh.
you got Ludendorff, you got a bomber plane full of whoops, a whole lot of gas. Um,
Uh-huh.
and
Diana sees the general dude and does the riding the horse down the side of the fence to backflipping over the fence, which is sick as hell.
it's cool, man. Big jumps are cool, except for the very last big jump in this movie. Big jumps are really cool, man. Like this,
Uh-huh.
just watching her like jump and flip and stab stuff is that's why I don't have any notes for this movie. Is just because I was like, ooh, all right, yeah, all right. Just stab
Yep.
four dudes, great.
You can pretty much get
Um,
behind everything.
yeah. So she goes up there and she kills the. She has like a fight with him. I thought it was kind of a cool fight once he snorts the once he takes the blue pill. Wink. Um,
Uh-huh.
then I thought that was kind of an interesting fight because they were sort of on the same like strength level at that point, but she still manages to take him out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And we then find out, whoops, that's no, he was just a
He's
bad
just a
guy.
dude.
Yeah, he's just
Yep.
a really bad dude. Um,
And this the one of the scenes I adore.
mm,
The Steve arriving after the fact, her being confused by the fact that everybody's still loading up the gas into the planes and getting ready to drop bombs
yeah,
everywhere.
like they should
And
be
then
done. Like,
Steve, yeah, then Steve arriving and having that whole. Sometimes men are just terrible people. Sometimes people are bad. There is
yeah,
literally nothing you can do about that. And
yeah,
it's the whole part of the whole storyline is also it's the whole origin of sin thing. It's like Ares didn't infect those specific people at that time. He infected everybody.
right,
And then everybody's decision to be good or bad.
right,
But his scene where he's losing his mind and he's like, look, I have to do something because I can do something.
right. Like you have to do what you can.
Uh-huh.
You can't just
There's a
give
lot
up.
of that with him where it's like his whole conversation with her at the start when he's in the pool is like, look, my dad told me one thing. He's like, if you see something bad happening, you either do nothing or you do something about it.
Yeah,
And I tried nothing.
yeah, yeah.
So
And
like
his
it's funny because it's called back a lot because like he's trying to do something. Then when the general tells him he can't go to the front, he says specifically to him, so you will sit there and do nothing.
right. Right. It's like part of his DNA throughout this entire thing. It's like I'm going to try and do something. Like even if
Uh-huh.
it's at the cost of my own life, let's do literally anything.
Yeah.
Um really like this next scene where Sir Patrick is there and Whoopsie's the bad guy. The kindly
Uh-huh.
werewolf is actually the bad guy. Um, Largely because I like how he plays this, where he's very calm about it, and just sort of explaining, like, yeah, man, it's me. Like, what
Mm-hmm.
are you gonna do? Like, I infected everybody. And, like, him very quietly teleporting, like, she dashes at him and he's outside. She's, like, trying to come at him. He's behind her. I like a little bit of, like, this, he's almost a little sad about it. And he's like, yeah, the war's been going pretty much about how I planned. It's pretty bad, but, it's who I am. It's what I do. No big deal.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
like that
And
kind
it's
of resignation.
it's a great reveal. Like the
Yeah.
fact that the dude who is being it's it, the dude who's been the voice of peace so
Right.
far
Right.
is the one who's Ares. And it makes sense. Like if you listen to everything that he's doing, he's talking about like knowing that Diana is on the field changes everything. That's why he
Hmm.
sends Diana to the front, is because he knows that everything he does is a way to make the war last longer, to make things go even further south.
Right.
Really well acted, really
Yeah.
well written.
I think this is where. So I like this shot of her trying to stab him with the sword, and he just like puts out his hand and just melts the
Uh-huh.
whole thing, and he's just like, "It's just a sword, Diana." Like it just,
Uh-huh.
it is not a god killer. Like it's just a sword. Um,
Yep, it turns out that's you.
right, which is pretty good. Um, this is easily my least favorite part of this movie. This kind of extended scene where she's fighting Ares in the armor. Um,
Yep. So let's just say comic accurate armor, by the way, which I adore. I think that
okay, I
armor
didn't know
looks
that.
cool as hell, and the fact that
Also,
he makes it.
that shot specifically of him, like just his silhouette in the flames, and he's pulling all of the metal plating from around him, incredibly cool.
Uh-huh. And
Everything after that,
the peel down where he melts
also
the face
very
bits with
cool.
his hands.
Yeah,
That's great.
that's
And
great.
then stop me if you've heard this before this season, folks. But then we get into a CG nightmare.
Yeah, like I don't hold it just like the previous shot in the courtyard at Veld. I don't hold this against him. I don't know. Shooting this scene practically, number one, is probably nearly impossible. But also, that actor who's playing Ares is very old. You're gonna be like, all right, this 400-pound metal suit. Let's get in there. Like, that's not gonna. So I understand it. It just looks bad. Like it is.
Yep.
It's rough. Um, I think there's some cool stuff that's happening here. I think there's some interesting action stuff that's kind of going back and forth between the two. Um, I just there's some cheesy stuff like I don't know if some of the lines are earned enough by Diana as she's defeating him, but it's fine. Um, so I don't want to harp on it too much because I feel like almost anybody that's watching this movie is like, yeah, that's the real low point. Um,
Uh-huh.
but she does kill him. Uh, Steve is not going to make it.
Yep.
Let's just say, sacrificing himself to kind of take care of all the poison stuff. He's flying it up as high as he can and then detonates it. Um, and Diana makes the right choice by not killing Doctor Poison and killing Ares. Um,
Uh-huh.
Pleasantly surprised we got to see what's behind Doctor Poison's mask. Um,
It's a cool shot, and it's also like very indicative of mustard gas burns. Like it's
yeah,
very based on the times, and as someone who is playing with gas, that's
right,
probably what would happen.
right. Um, Yeah, and essentially after she kills Ares, everybody kind of wakes up, which is
Uh-huh.
kind of, for me, kind of surprising that that was actually the case. That's the end of the war, was just like everyone's like rubbing their eyes and like, where am I? Where have I been? What have I been doing? What's going on?
Uh-huh.
So they celebrate the end of the war, and then kind of switches back to present day and typing out a nice little email to Bruce Wayne saying like, "Hey, thanks, got that picture, appreciate it. I'm gonna
Yep.
go jump out of the. I'm gonna go do this impossible jump out of this building that looks really cheesy," and then that's the end of the movie. um, I I really liked this movie. I think that obviously, like we just talked about, I'm not gonna belabor the point. The real low point is the fight between Diana and
With
Ares.
it. Uh-huh.
Just because like that just has to be a hard one to shoot and make that CG work.
Uh-huh.
But I think what I liked so much about it is sort of what we've been talking about this whole time, is that it's just fun. Like it's a fun movie that's kind of having a fun time being made. It has some incredibly cool action scenes from nearly
Yep.
immediately at the beginning. And everybody is just killing it the whole movie. And it just, like, as soon as it finished, I was like, you know what, that was a lot of fun. Like the thing that was kind of missing from Suicide Squad, and there was a little bit of it in Batman v Superman, like when Wonder Woman shows up. But like
Yeah.
this movie's great. It's just a lot of fun. I had a hell of a lot of fun watching it. I liked it a lot. No notes, 2 thumbs up. Love it.
Uh-huh. I
Yeah.
I love this movie. Speaking of which, IMDb viewer rating 7.4 out of 10.
Okay. Apologies if anyone can hear these sirens outside. Apparently,
Oh
there's
yeah,
like,
we can.
okay. Apparently, there's like apparently NVIDIA broadcast is not going to beat like 4 fire trucks out there. What's
Don't
the
worry, I live next door to a fire truck place, so it happens
yeah?
all the time in the show.
So
Apparently,
do I. Yeah. So what's the
It's
rating? I'm sorry, I missed it.
7.4 on IMDb.
I feel like
I
that's
think
pretty
it's a
fair.
little low.
Yeah,
I think it's a little low.
I'd probably push a little bit closer to 8.
Well,
But I feel like that's pretty fair. I was expecting that to be way lower for this.
yeah. Well, Rotten Tomato audience score is 83%,
That's probably about where I'd land. Yeah,
and it is certified fresh at
Oh.
93%.
that's very high. Wow. Okay.
Uh-huh. But come on, dude. You're reviewing the DCEU, and literally the last movie you saw was the Suicide Squad.
This breath of fresh air shows up, and it's like, oh, good, it's a movie. Oh, thank God.
Uh-huh.
Like,
So, other than the man babies who came out of the woodwork to complain about women's rights and so on and
complain
so
about
forth,
their opinions we shouldn't listen to in the first place.
exactly, to prove why they are the idiots,
That's right.
you know.
Yeah, I could imagine seeing this in the theater too, and just kind of having fun with a fun action movie.
Yep.
Like this came out in June of
That's the biggest
2017.
thing, is it is fun.
Yeah.
It is a fun journey the whole way through.
Yep. I liked it a lot. It's one of those movies that's like, yeah, I had a good time the whole time.
Do you wish you would have seen it at the time?
I think so. I think I probably would have enjoyed it as much, of just like, yeah, like this is a fun ride. I feel like I might be enjoying it a little bit more because the pendulum is swinging the exact opposite way from Suicide Squad, where the two movies couldn't be more polar opposites at this point.
Uh-huh.
So I feel like that's coloring my opinion a little bit, where it's like, oh, it's so much fun. Oh, thank God. Like, it's just this sense of relief of of this movie, and it's just, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It is this. Is this the second time you've seen it? Because you mentioned you watched it in the theater.
This is probably the fourth or fifth time I've seen it, because I
Okay.
also watched it Christmas Day, not last year, the year before, because 1984 came out. So
Oh,
I
okay.
watched Wonder Woman and then 1984 right afterwards.
Oh, okay. Um. Well, we got the big one next.
No, we got the smaller the
We
big
got
one.
the Diet Coke version of the other one. So, as we talked about at the beginning, we're gonna watch Justice League, the 2017 version. We're not gonna be watching 2021's Zack Snyder's Justice League. You might want to tune in for season 2 of the DCEU for some of that, but we're definitely gonna that'll be our fifth and final episode for this season. I hope we'll catch you there. Bye.
Uh-huh. Boy.